to hell. Your voice is mine. Your fucking blood.
Alright, so in this video we'll be talking about a few different things. I'm going to attempt to teach you how to scream in my beginner guide series. Hopefully some of the advice I give you will be able to actually help you out and help you become a better screaming vocalist. Now, a lot of people think that screaming is something that has just recently become a very big part of music culture, and that, you know, only metal really has screaming. When you look in history of music, screaming vocals have actually been in existence probably since about the late 60s. You know, they've been in blues, they've been in jazz, they've been in zoot suit music, you know, grunge, punk, metal, rock. I think the only one they haven't probably been in is pop. Even rap has had a couple screaming vocals. Screaming vocals, in my mind, when I mean screaming vocals, I'm just talking about a distortion of your voice. In a distortion that's a powerful one, not these guys who go yeah when they're singing, but an actual vocal distortion. Although, yeah, the screams that were in the earlier days, you know, were only every now and then you'd have, like, you know, some old blind black guy sitting there and he'd go, yeah! You know, but that was still technically a screaming vocal. That little move right there, yeah! I have to actually use my throat and make a scream out of it. Probably all screaming vocals, you know, where the entire song was screaming, probably didn't come about until punk came out. And even then, it was usually just as more of a distorted voice rather than screaming, but it was still a type of scream technique to be used throughout the entire song with lyrics of that. Metal music with all screaming vocals probably didn't come out until the mid-'80s, I want to say. And that's when, you know, people when first heard that thought, ooh, this is devil music. But the cool thing about screaming vocals is now, I mean, you've got Christian metal, you've got political metal, you've got death metal, you've got just plain disgusting metal. But then you've got, you know, music like mine too, where it's just positive message metal. There's all kinds of different metal now. In fact, if you were to try to categorize them, there's probably way too many to even try to deal with. So when it comes to screaming, you first want to figure out why do you want to scream and what kind of scream do you want to do. Now, I say why do you want to scream because I've actually had people message me before and say, hey, I just want to scream because I think it'll impress my friends. Or my friends have a band, but they don't have a vocalist, so I want to learn how to scream. If you're trying to be a metal screamer just to impress people, you're probably not going to be all that great. When it comes to any type of vocals, especially screaming, it's so much of it is subconscious. It's all controlled by your mind. And when you have no feeling towards it, it's not going to be all that great. A lot of you guys pick on my covers, say that my covers suck. Well, I didn't write the song, and half the time I'm too busy trying to read my screen to read the lyrics that it takes out that personable feeling. And that's why my covers usually suck. They're not mine, so I'm not passionate about it, and I'm sitting here trying to read the lyrics instead of feeling the music. So if you want to be a screamer just to impress people, you're probably not going to be that good of a screamer, and you probably lost all respect of most reputable metal artists, period, or any artist. When you try doing something just to impress people, especially music, it's not going to work out good for you in the end. Now let's say that you just said, well, you know, I really love my lyrics and singing, it just doesn't work for me, and I'm just so passionate about it that I want to just belt these lyrics out. Well, then there you go, you can be a metal screamer. When I've wanted to do metal screaming probably since I was about 13 or 14, but I had no idea there was even a right or wrong technique for screaming. So my scream back then was just a regular scream, like you'd, you know, yell over somebody across the street, hey you! You know, and it was not a good scream. It screwed up my, you know, where the next day I couldn't even talk. So it was not a good thing. As far as the different types of screams, I have a video called The 3 Different Types of Execution. In my mind, if you're going to be doing all metal vocals, there's about 3 different types of screams you can do. One is called the vocal fry. I'm not good at the vocal fry. If you want to learn more about the vocal fry, then I guess, buy Melissa Cross's DVDs. The vocal fry, hard for me to explain. It's probably one of the safest ways you can scream. It's just that it lacks a lot, in my opinion. Even the people that have messaged me and say, well, I know how to do vocal fry perfectly. And when I hear the vocals, then, yeah, you've got a distortion down, but where's the power? Where's the originality? Where's the pitch? A lot of the vocal fry, I just don't hear it in that. If you like the vocal fry and it works for your music, then great. Vocal fry demonstration, once again, I'm not good at it, but a vocal fry is basically going, yeah. Wow, that really sucked. Hold on. So, vocal fry. Once again, I can't do it. I've heard people that can do it, but it still has that very monotone sound to it. You can pitch it, but it just doesn't. To me, the overtone of it sounds the same no matter who does it. So for me, it's just not a very great one. The other one that I don't even really mess with unless I'm doing pig squeals or low gutturals, which in my music I don't do, is the inhale. The inhale is exactly what it sounds like. You're basically taking air in with your throat being in a very closed positioning, which is making the air pass by vibrating your vocal cords and making a distortion sound. Inhale, of course, would just be a that I can actually get louder than a vocal fry, which I think is funny. But negatives to an inhale is that it takes a lot more diaphragm usage in there, and that since you're making your diaphragm work backwards, it's a lot more strain on your body. Also, it's easier to, there's all kinds of shit in the air. If you watch the news, you know that. So the more you're inhaling as your main vocal style, the more shit you're getting in your throat. Not a good thing. If you do, once again, if you do the inhale and it works for you and your kind of music, then that's great. I would still say if you want to do an inhale, try to limit it to only like the low guttural type stuff. Try to limit it to just using that. Because when you try to do an entire song, then it sounds awkward in my opinion. The other type of scream is the one that I do, the main one that I teach just because it's the one that I do, so I know more about it than any of the other screams. Which I went ahead and coined as the power exhale, just because I wasn't sure what else to call it. That would basically be a different type of technique that I'll hopefully explain to the best of my abilities. I have previous videos, check those out too. But power exhale, which would be just wild, spread their wings, learn the angels' word, spread their wings. So there you go. Pick which scream works for you and your music, and work with it on that. And in my later videos, I'll try to explain how to actually execute them. Once again, so much goes on with your mind in controlling these that I have limited resource to actually explain how to do it, but I'll try my best.